today we are bottling of a different kind. We've already done all the bottling. If you've been following along in our free group, the Fermenting for Life, when we did the 12 weeks of Christmas, we started way back in October, and it's here. It's almost here. It's hard to believe that our year has come to an end. So what we're doing is we're bottling all those goodies that we made, and we share them. We share them with our family and friends. We make little hampers, gut-loving paper packages. So one of the things that we shared was the fire cider, the wonderful fire cider. This came, if you haven't or you don't have the recipe, follow along in our free series, the 3 video series, which was inspired by our wonderful Tom. If you haven't met Tom, Tom's in his 80s. He's our hero story, Tom. Tom had lots of problems, lots of immune problems, right down to his type 2 diabetes, to his obesity, which all ran into one another, the high blood pressure. And of course, with time, Tom has controlled it. It's not just the change of his food by adding these foods. By adding the foods, he also felt so wonderful that he got out and exercised. His mind changed. He started sharing the foods. He had a goal in life. He had a purpose. So it all goes together. So with the fire cider, we're straining it off today. We're straining it. So that's the part, that's the liquid that we use, but we also keep the mass. We don't throw that out. This one needs to be refrigerated. The other one you can just leave in your cupboard. So we put them into little bottles and we label everything, and we also add little recipes with everything so everyone knows how to use it and what to do with it. Remember the fire cider, the big trick of when you take your fire cider? You just need that little, no more than a tablespoon at the most. You can start with a teaspoon, put it under the tongue and work that vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a really important, that's like a big muscle that needs to be worked out for your immune system. Because that's what we're talking about, boosting the immune system. So hold it under your tongue for as long as you can, and then work that vagus nerve by gargling. We know that by gargling, humming and singing are all exercises that we can do every day to help improve that vagus nerve. So there you go. There's your little December trick that you can take through with you to next year. So fire cider, wonderful little product. There's so many other things that what we do is we put them all into these little jars and once again label it and add little recipes so that the recipient knows how to use it. So things like kimchi or kimchi. It's just a wonderful little food. We borrowed this from the Koreans, and you'll get lots of tricks of how you can use it. Oh, the smell of it is absolutely superb. This is a relatively quick ferment, but the longer you leave it in the fridge, the longer the flavour evolves. That's the same with any of these products. So then what we've got the watermelon rind pickle. The watermelon rind pickle, which is a great way of using your organic watermelon skins, and it's so tasty, beautiful, served with a cheese platter on your festive table. We have one of my favourites, and these ones come from my garden. This is the golden shallot. I always say when I eat these, the big problem is we never planted enough. They're so wonderful, and that's from our little pepper tree. That's a little native pepper, so that went in there, so that's fermented, and you can actually use the little peppercorns too. So this is a really good product to have out here today to show you that this wasn't done in our 12 weeks of Christmas. This was done over 3 years ago, and it's still crunchy and crisp. These are real survival foods, and it's just beautiful. You can slice these, you can add them into your salads, put them on top of grain dishes. You can do so much with it, or you can just chomp them. They are wonderful. You can do that with any of the onion family, including the garlic. The garlic is really the king of the kitchen. This one is done in a salted brine, and the little bay leaves there were put in there, so they're fermented, and you can use those as well. You can put those into your food. These really are just superb. They're first aid kit. That's a first aid kit in a jar. So I'll be popping those into little jars for people, again, with how to use them. The honey and cinnamon bark infused garlic. This is not actually a fermentation. It's not a lacto ferment. Honey by itself does not ferment, but it's still so tasty, and it is still got many digestive benefits, but just not lacto fermented. So it's just another little tool that we can add to our toolbox for wonderful taste. And the cinnamon bark, you can use that as well, and that just gives it that lovely Christmas smell and taste. Turmeric is one of the best products to ferment. It makes it water soluble, bioavailable. You don't have to add any peppercorns. You're best not to add peppercorns, because not many things need to have the peppercorns added to them, because it can be overpowering. It's all right with a little onion, but this turmeric by itself, just wonderful. And that's one of the things that Tom said would just help with his inflammation, which is all well gone. So much nicer to take a little bit of fermented turmeric in your day, and especially, you know, if you are suffering from any inflammation, it's a wonderful product. It's also very antiviral. So there we go. That's got turmeric. This has done the little daikon radish that we actually put into the kimchi, the big long white radish. That's a wonderful product just to do with in your turmeric. And I like to add some little garden leeks. And again, you can pick those out and use them separately and put them through your salads. That's beautiful as a topper. You can put that like on top of your fish. That looks and tastes wonderful and goes perfectly with it. Pickles. These pickles are not cucumber pickles. They're actually from my garden. They're loofah. So that's the little loofah, and that was done in a pickling spice, my own garden pickling spice. But you could again use something like a mustard seed, like a brown or a black mustard seed, and put that at the bottom, just like you do with a pickle. So that's my loofah. So I'll be doing little jars of those, and of course little jars of Christmas sauerkraut. And the Christmas sauerkraut has got little stars, little apple stars and little pear stars. And it's got cinnamon and nutmeg, tiny little bit of clove, just to give it that real Christmas festive spirit and taste. And it's just wonderful. And that again, you can use that by itself, or you can mix it in with your salads. And we can't have the end of the year without having cranberries of some kind. I love putting cranberries into my sauerkraut. But it's also lovely done as a little relish, and this is just to go to the side of your nut roast or your turkey. Or you can't have turkey without having cranberry. Now this is cranberry with a bit of pomegranate. I've shared this recipe in the last week everywhere, and it's popped up. It's in all my feeds. It's on the group page, and I'll also add the recipe for you, because you've got time to do this one. Just 2 to 3 days is all that one takes. The flavour, like it all, as I previously said, will continue to evolve. This one was made last Christmas. And if you taste test the one that I made for our 12 Weeks of Christmas series, and the one that was prior made from last year, where I made a lot of it when we were also sharing Christmas, this flavour of this one from last year is just superb. So make extras, and you can use them through the year. As I said, it's real survival food. So whenever you make them, it's really a great idea to make extras, because they store. You just pop them into the refrigerator. It's just having enough fridge space. Sometimes we have to get an extra little fridge. You have to get the solar power working so that you've got an extra fridge so that you can store all your bottles, because it's well worthwhile. And you know, your bottles, they'll store for ages. I make up these little rainbow ones, and they're already all been fermented, so that when I give these to people, they can scoop them out, and they've got all little different varieties. So it's just wonderful to be able to share it. Of course, I do my milk kefirs, little bottles of those for those that want them, and the kvass, your beetroot. That's just so blood building, it's immune boosting, it's very strengthening for over the festive period, especially if you're going to have a few little, those little beverages that we have to celebrate the end of the year, and there's nothing wrong with doing that either. We should be celebrating, but that's really good. I'm told it's very good for hangovers, so if you're suffering you can have all of it the next day. So I put all those onto my little tags for them. And vinegars, I love drinking vinegars, so I do little bits of vinegars and put little recipes on how you can transform just an ordinary vinegar, well, not like white vinegar that has been properly fermented. You can see with the cloudiness at the bottom, that's how you know, because that's the mother of vinegar in there, so that's good quality. So those you can make into lovely shrubs, which is just a drinking vinegar, and it's just so perfect for your fermented table, or your fermented and your fresh table. The blueberries that we made back just before we made the fire cider, and that was just blueberries immersed in apple cider vinegar, and that's just so great. You can do so much with those it's a beautiful dressing, the liquid, but the blueberries themselves you can just pop into a salad. If you remember, if you've been following along, we did them with quinoa and cacao nibs and goji berries, and oh, it's just a beautiful salad, and some microgreens on top, so you get the really balance. Of course, the fermented ginger, can't go without putting my kitchen wow factor. That's the fermented ginger, and that's been done in a lime brine, and it's just wow. You only need little slithers of it. The liquid itself, you can add that just to a glass of water, just a little dash of that, and it'll just give you a pick-me-up like you wouldn't believe. And it's very calming. We know, ginger is very calming for like things like morning sickness and travel sickness, but it's also just calming for anxiety. So you can have, and little slithers of this is just beautiful. Just put through your food. You put it through as your last. You don't heat them because we don't want to kill all the good beasties. So you just put a little bit of ginger through when you're serving your product. So your plate of food, just pop them on the top, and it'll just give it a flavour, but it'll also be very calming for you. And calming is what we need. I've been sharing mantras, my favourite mantras, the 2 words. I've been doing IMs all throughout December because they've been helping me. Today I'm going to finish with my favourite. And it's really from my heart to your heart, from my kitchen to your kitchen. The 2 words are thank you. I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank everybody, no matter where you are or where you know me from. People have helped me. They've helped me on my journey. It was 4 Christmases ago. Well, this will be our 5th Christmas without Thierry's dad. So yes, I've been helped along from there, and we've had lots of hiccups in the meantime. But when you wake up in the morning, you must be grateful. I say be grateful for your breath. So if you've got nothing else to thank, just press that hard. Press that heart hard and breathe. Take a big breath. Find somewhere where you can sit nice and straight, upright, like on a seat or somewhere where you can ground your feet. So ground your feet and take a breath. Close your eyes. Take that big breath in and be thankful. Thank you for my breath. And let it go. Thank you. Big love and bacteria.